Hello and welcome to ChiaoGoo. I'm Cassondra Rizzardi, aka Riz and Knits, and today I'm going to be walking you through the complete stainless steel twist sets from ChiaoGoo, and these are going to be the red lace interchangeable set. So here are the two kits. I've got the 5-inch tips and the 4-inch tips. They are almost identical in every way except one, and I will get into that a little bit later on. But for example purposes, I'm going to be walking you through the 5-inch tip set. So first things first, when you open your case, you'll find a little packet here, two little packets actually, with your cables and a little informational flyer, and then you'll see all of your needles laid out. So the complete set here comes with both the small tips and the large tips. The small tips join to the small cables, the large tips join to the large cables. The only differences here are that the threading here is smaller on the smalls, so those fit into these small cables, and likewise with the large. So turning here to the small side, we have a US 2, US 3, US 4, US 5, US 6, US 7, and US 8. In millimeters, those are your 2.75 millimeter, 3.25 millimeter, 3.5 millimeter, 3.75 millimeter, 4 millimeter, 4.5 millimeter, and 5 millimeter. So those are your small tips. Over here on the other side, your large tips come in a US 9, 10, 10.5, 11, 13, and 15. In millimeters, those are a 5.5 millimeter, 6 millimeter, 6.5 millimeter, 8 millimeter, 9 millimeter, and a 10 millimeter. In the complete set, like I said, you get both the smalls and the large. You can also break it down and get either just the small tips or just the large tips in a separate set. Next up, let's look at these cables. So these are the red lace cables. Let me open up one of these packs here. When I first open these up, one thing you'll want to notice is how smoothly these lay, even straight out of the bag. They do not hold a coil in them. So even after being wrapped up in that bag tightly for a while, you'll see that they just come right open and hang nice and smooth. The reason for that is that inside of these red plastic cables, there's actually a stainless steel braided cord. So it gives a really great structure, holds its shape, doesn't hold a kink, and just really helps, especially on projects when you're joining in the round or using magic loop. You don't end up with that coiled up cable that's kind of twisting and fiddling and getting in your way. These just go nice and smooth. It's like magic. I love it. The large cables come in a 14-inch, 22-inch, and 30-inch length, and in centimeters, that's 35 centimeter, 55 centimeter, and 75 centimeter. So as you can see here, the different lengths, we've got, this is the 14-inch, the 22-inch, and the 30-inch. Here. You can also order separate larger and shorter cables that fit in with the same system here. So if these cable lengths don't work for a project, you can always order a new size that will work for you perfectly. It'll work exactly the same and fit right in with your kit. The small cables also come in a 14, 22, and 30-inch length. The one difference between the 5-inch tips and the 4-inch tips are the length and cables that come with your kit. So for the 4-inch tips, you actually get two 8-inch cables, one 14-inch cable, and one 22-inch cable. And that goes for both the small and the larges. So you're able to do those smaller circumferences with the 4-inch tips. So that's why it comes with those smaller 8-inch cables. and that way you've just got a little more versatility. So let me show you here the difference between the 4-inch and 5-inch. Obviously the difference is an inch, but for your purposes, here's how they look. So the 5-inch here, you can see I've got a pretty average size hand, fits completely in my hand with room on both ends. And the 4-inch is gonna be just at the width of my hand. So just to give you an idea of how large those actually are. So when you're actually going to knit with them, the 4-inch is going to rest real close to the edge of your pinkies there, but it's gonna give you enough of a grip that you can still hold on to the whole needle with your hands. With the 5-inch, you'll have a little extra space and leverage with those needles in your hands. Next, let's get into the accessories. So in your case, you'll find this front zippered pocket. If we open that up, we've got a couple of things in here. First of all, you'll find the ChiaoGoo ruler. It has inches and millimeters on it, as well as these are needle gauges, so you can actually stick your needles in here to find the sizes. You see here. So these are actually little cutouts for your needle gauge. And this is just a handy little tool to have on hand in your case. Next, you'll find some stitch markers. Again, both the 4-inch and 5-inch come with these accessories. So I'll just open these up here, show you. It comes with stitch markers to fit all the different needle sizes. So we've got extra large blue, the large green, the medium yellow, and the small pink. So these will fit on every needle in your case, so you always have some stitch markers on hand if you've got your case with you. And then in our other little baggie here, we've got some unique accessories. So let's just open one of these up. And first of all, you'll notice these black ends. These are cable stoppers. So if you need to use your needles for another project, or you have a project that requires leaving some stitches live on a separate cable or waste yarn, you can actually leave them right on your cable and just twist off your needles and twist these cable end stoppers right on, and that'll hold your stitches in place. The black cable stoppers are for the large tips, and then it also comes with a set in white, and these are for the small tips. Next, you'll find your T-pins. It comes with 2 T-pins, and these are used for tightening your cables onto your needles, and I will show you how to use those in just a moment. Lastly, we're gonna find our cable connectors. So these come in your kit, and they are these tiny little screws. You'll see there's one large and one small. And what these are for, you can use them to join 2 cables to make a longer cable. That just adds some versatility to your kit. So if your cable isn't quite long enough for a project, you can always add on a second one and make it a bit longer. Now let's get into some of the mechanics of this set. So I'm gonna take my size 8 here, US 8, 5mm tips. And as you can see, these have a really nice long tapered lace tip. They also are surgical grade stainless steel, and they are a brushed sort of satin sheen finish, which gives you really nice movement and flow on your projects without being too slick. It actually kind of gives just a slightest hint of grab in your project so that your stitches aren't just like sliding all over the place, but also it does glide nice and smooth on that surgical stainless steel. They are hypoallergenic, and they are lace tips. So nice and fine points on there for getting in on some real intricate lace work or detailed stitches. And they also have perfect joins. So I want to show you just how nicely these join to the cables. So I'm going to take one of my small cables here, open this up, and as you can see, they hang nice and open just like that. I'm going to take the smallest one here, the 14-inch cable, and using my T-pin, I'm going to insert it into the hole. If you look here on the cable, there's actually a hole to put that T-pin through. So I'm just gonna put the T-pin in and then start to twist on my needle. And then when it gets right up to the joint, I'm gonna use the T-pin as a lever to just get that nice and tight on there. Do the other side, twist on, and as you can see, it's got a nice little screw function there, so it really gets in and grips together. And as long as you use that T-pin and give it a nice twist, you're gonna have perfect joins. As you can see here, it's almost invisible where that join is because it's so seamless. Another feature I want to point out on these stainless steel tips is that the sizes are actually laser etched into the needle, so you don't have to worry about it rubbing off as you use them. Your size is always going to be right there on the needle. It's nice and clear, and it also tells you whether the needle is a small or large, indicated by the S here on this one. The cables are also laser etched, so you know what length they are. So it's just a really nice feature to have, knowing that even if your pieces get separated or you have needles in a project and you forgot which ones they were, you can always look right on there and it's going to be there. It's not going to rub off. Another feature I'd like to point out is on the cable here, the hole that we use to insert the T-pin to tighten can also be used to place a lifeline in your project. So what you would do is thread a piece of floss or another thread through that hole and then knit your round. As you knit, it's going to be carrying that thread along through your project, and when you get to the end of the row, you just slide it out of the hole and that lifeline will be perfectly placed for you. The red lace stainless steel tips are also completely compatible with all of the bamboo cables, the spin cables, as well as the bamboo tips. So if you have that kit, you can use them together interchangeably. And if you really enjoy having those spin cables, you can use them with your stainless steel tips. So that covers all of the basics of this complete interchangeable set. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that this video was helpful, and I hope you enjoy knitting with your ChiaoGoo needles. I'll see you next time.